Okay, I was gonna say, despite how horribly immoral, unethical, evil even that was, it might well have been a war-winning move. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're back with another episode of Visions of Escaflowne. We are in the penultimate episode. I don't know what's going to happen here, but whatever happens next episode is the way they intend the story to end. Unless, of course, the movie is a continuation, which I doubt. The movies tend to be either reimaginings of the show or, their own thing. Sorry, I said tend to be. I'm in the mindset of what happened to us with Magic Knight Rayearth, and now I'm just kind of like in the mode of what are we going to do here? Again, I have no idea. No spoilers from the live chat, hopefully. We'll find out. That said, though, I come into this with notes on a board from the last few episodes, so let's go ahead and hit the board first. And the board comes with the board changelog, where I added a purple arrow from Yukari to Amino. That revelation. In the family relation board, I made Selena half Delandu. Essentially, I included Delandu's name with Selena and then put half of Delandu's image on Selena, because I think that's representative. And I added a blue line between Dryden and Malerna, because I forgot to all this time, I guess. Like, literally, we saw their wedding, and they've stuck it together the entire time. I just forgot to do it, I guess. That said, though, that is the board. And, of course, I come with notes, so let's go ahead and get into that. Today's card is Lametia, the Hermit. It means the Hermit. Introducing the idea that Yukari is in love with Amino this whole time is such an odd swerve. Just to cement that Hitomi should wind up with Vaughn, we could have just gone home and the same thing would have happened. We had multiple episodes. Sorry, what I meant to say is we could have just not gone home and the same thing would have happened. We had multiple episodes of Hitomi thinking about Amino, a couple episodes of Amino thinking about Hitomi. For the payoff to be this, it's just lackluster in my mind. Also, it does nothing for the Alan looks like Amino thing that's also been pointed out. The two characters aren't connected in any way, but I just mean the element that she may have been projecting on Alan, her thoughts about Amino or something, could have been done something with that. Also, since we go backwards in time somewhat, no payoff from Amino and Yukari's conversation with Hitomi's mom, because that just never happens now. Everything we learn about Hitomi's grandmother and Alan's dad, I forgot his name off the top of my head, just comes to nothing because they can't have a conversation about that with Hitomi because we're in the past and now they don't know it. Like, all this stuff we could get payoff for, we've just squandered it. Hitomi spends all this time in another world going through all these crazy situations and risking her life, gets back home for a bit, and no joy or long conversations with mom. A bit of a letdown there, too. Legitimately, the only thing we hear from her mother is that she ran the bath and you're gonna miss a hot bath if you don't come down right now. Not, hey mom, let me tell you about everything that's happened to me. And then she'd be like, oh yeah, I know about that from your grandmother. And, something. Hitomi going back to Gaia at the end seems like a wrong move. I get that her friends are all still threatened by Zybok, but Zybok needs you in order to fulfill their plan. Additionally, nothing has changed as far as you know. Van is still bloodthirsty. Alan is still going to lock you in a cage. Van learned to track stuff with his own power. I don't know that Hitomi coming back changes anything for the positive in any real way. I know it's the work of Dornkirk and his sorcerers setting it up, but it's still her choice to go with Van. Just a one-line note here. Does this imply that Myrtle's given up on landing Vaughn for herself? It's very weird that she's like, no, you go to her. Like, after everything. Clearly, given that Jujaka was with Delandu back in the fortress when Delandu was Selena there, and I didn't recognize what was going on, Jujuka knows about what's going on with Delandu. I guess that would explain why Jujuka was just cloaked in a Gaimelef, watching Delandu with Alan. But I'd also have to imagine the fact that they were just sitting there watching means that they were also just waiting for all of this to play out. Maybe they want Selena to return and to be with her brother, but was nearby in case anything went wrong. Otherwise, the scene doesn't make much sense. Likewise, why isn't Vaughn picking up on a cloaked Zybok Gaimelf in the area, since conceivably the two locations are not that far apart? As per his ability to sense cloaked units and everything now. And my last note, remember that Falcon is still hiding things. He says he knows little about Delandu's backstory, but he was tied to him for quite a while. Additionally, he talks about the sorcerers like they are some distant group of people. But Falcon also used to be one of them. For all we know, he was a part of whatever went on with Delandu. And, it's not part of my note, but very much seems like Dornkirk is implying that Falcon's plan is still going. I guess this is a Star Wars thing, maybe? How Vader is still working for the Emperor right up until the Emperor starts zapping Vader's kid. So maybe he really did plan to betray Dornkirk with Vaughn, but Vaughn's not having it, and Falcon's still like, well, I still got my plan. And that involves being around Dornkirk again. Because, the next time on really seemed to imply something was still going on there. Well, that said, nothing left to do but to hop on in and see what we get.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
I will say, as I said before, we only have one episode left after this one before we get into the movie. And it does seem likely that the movie might use some music from the show, assuming that they're connected, unlike, Magic Knight Rayearth, which I also talked about. If it doesn't, I am kind of miss this opening. Maybe not so much the ending. I don't think I became as attached to the ending song as I did the opening. Na, 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 na. Like, it has a beat to it, right? Or not a beat. It has it has something that gets it in your head. And as I said before, I think there's like something reminiscent of, say, Ah My Goddess, or if you prefer, Oh My Goddess, that it also just feels like, was it Awaken Your Mind? I think that's the opening song to that show. It just has that reminiscent there, like, in these bits where, like, the chorus is going, I can hear Oh My Goddess in there. And I really loved that show, but I also really loved the opening song. And I really like how I've gotten something close to that in Visions of Escaflowne. Like, it's a completely different story. I'll give that, but... La Forza, which I do not know what that means. Lion? Of course you couldn't. They're the world's #1 superpower. I don't know if you've heard of Cesaria before on the island.
スパーノのガイメレフを操るファーネリア王の火星があれば兵の士気も持ちましょう。何卒お力添えを。
Okay, Vaughn's become a legend. The 4 generals of Fenelia. Oh, 3 of them, anyway.
共に戦おう。先陣はこのバーン・ファーネルが務める。おお、形気のございます。一つだけ頼みがある。彼女をアストリアに送り届けてほしい。心得ました。
Also, not proving to Hitomi that you're not still bloodthirsty.
バーの力になれるかもしれない。
そうだ。お前がいれば頼ってしまう。もう使いたくないんだ。戦に瞳。
Okay, there we go. That's the proof. Unfortunately, sometimes Hitomi is just connected to him, so whatever he goes through here, she might just still feel anyway. Because it's not Dornkirk's plan. He was waiting for Hitomi to get brought back. And then the connection between her and Vaughn. Remember, Hitomi saw the moon being destroyed, and that hasn't happened yet. You know, up until I had a metal thing sticking out of my window, I really enjoyed the rain.
初めてかな。私の誘いを断った人は。
アレンさん。
心配はない。バーンは必ず戻ってくる。ここに君が誰よりも大切な人がいるのだから。
Again, the age difference between these two. I'm not saying creepy or anything. I'm just saying it's something to notice. Some would say, war, what is it good for? Kind of feels like the Quark argument from DS9, arguing to the Vulcan why peace is good for business. Seriously, the episode I finally connected you to with a blue line. Does that make you not the king anymore? No, okay, you're making yourself not the king. Of course you won't, you'll be with Alan. I mean, I feel like it's the obvious thing that's happening right now. Alan is now free, she's now free. Though Alan has a more complicated storyline going on right now, too. No. that's the fight that we saw in the next time on, right?
装置と同調した波動なら光の柱を導けるはず。この機械をビワンから回収したのもそのためだ。決着はこの私が。
Okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe Fulkirk isn't, say, Fulkin. He's combining Dornkirk and Fulkin together.
そんなドルンカークに会ったらホルケンさんが死んじゃう。
Well, tell him that. Or don't.
あの人なりの優しさかしら。彼なら私を幸せにしてくれると思ったわ。そう、いつもそうなのよ。誰かが私を幸せにしてくれるって。でも違うのね。ドライデンが去ってしまって気づくなんて。
I think Dryden was still a good match.
あなたは気づいていたのでしょ。
Also, you know, Alan hooking up with her is going to make her sister very angry.
優しい言葉を聞いてしまったらあなたに頼ってしまう。
Oh, is that the theme? Vaughn to Hitomi. Merlia to Alan.
天空の騎士アレン・シェザール、これより出陣いたします。ミラーナ姫とはしばしの別れを。
そなたにいつも海流神父やのご加護のあらんことを
First time we're hearing about that.
運を祈っております。
ディランドゥ様、我々は第32番隊とともにガルフォに出陣との命が下りました。
そうかい。久しぶりの大戦か。
And Alandu is fucked up.
楽しみだね。
Like, I mean, those were super distant eyes he was given the floor. Those gotta be the least technologically advanced things we've seen in the Zybok Empire. Well, welcome back, Alan. I mean, I guess the thing is, though, is those are like the only two unbeatable people on the field.
このままでは敵本陣にたどり着けぬ。一気に突破口を開く。しかし戦場には味方の軍勢も構わん。サイバーハミ、目に物見せてくれるわ。将軍。
Well, from the Allies' side, usually this is something you get from the enemies. Yeah, I'm just very confused about the level of care Merle has. Obviously, she does very much care for Vaughn as a person, doesn't want him to die. But giving him up relationship-wise seems like out of touch for her. I guess she just opened up that much to Hitomi. Biological weapon? I guess that would be a weapon available to them. Oh no, their own version of a nuke.
を使ったというのか。
I mean, not where I thought this show was gonna go. How does Vaughn and Alan survive, though, since they seem to be right there?
直に成功。
Well, that's 3 of the generals. Assumably 40,000 Zybok troops, too. No idea how many of the Alliance troops. No, that's how he survives. He's already behind a bunch of rocks. Well, part behind a mountain. That's how that general survives. And I guess Delandu got called off at that other front, so that's why he's not going to be there. Yeah, like Faceless guy is gonna win here. Not Faceless. Random new guy. Okay, I was gonna say, despite how horribly immoral, unethical, evil even that was, it might well have been a war-winning move. If Zybok sent everything here, and they heavily outnumber you, then you did more harm to Zybok than they possibly could ever have done to you. Who's that a picture of? Send her to Vaughn instead of him to Dornkirk? Is that the meaning behind the Black Wings? He's dying? Or is he molting because he's dying? Well, his physical equivalent of what was happening to the cat girls. Well, let me guess. No, he won't. He has you. You shouldn't, though. You shouldn't try and change fate, which was the entire message you were told. Because when you change fate, you make a negative impression of what actually should happen. It's also the hubris of the Atlanteans, right?
どこにいる？
I mean, I guess you gotta hope that the red Gaimalo wasn't in the blast, because that's your sister gone.
これで揃った。私のもとへ全ての因子は集合。
Not all of them. You needed the Escaflowne.
運命改変装置の完全なる初動の時。全ては私の思い。
He literally is the Emperor.
重い？
From Star Wars, I mean. Obviously, he's the Emperor of
お前
Dornkirk.
が幻の月の少女をここへ連れてくるように運命を導いたのだ。
あなたはどこまで運命をもてあそぶのだ？
愚問だな。私の真意は分かっているはずだ。
ならば私の決意も分かっているはず。
私を殺しに来たのだ。
Well, I mean, Hitomi already showed you. I mean, told you that you'll fail.
ああ、殺すがよい。他には私しかいない。
And I guess we're gonna find out what this thing can do with this rotten old man inside. I gotta assume it's like pumping fate blood into him or something. Yeah, he's too lucky to lose or something. My only guess.
化け物だ。
What a Sephiroth move. I guess he didn't expect that at the end. Seriously? He killed Dornkirk and his blade snapped off, reflected back into himself, and that's what kills him?
そうか。ここは運命改変の中心地。作用と反作用が最も強く働く場所。しかしこれで戦いは終わ
I mean, I have to assume he got himself killed on purpose, even if his face was like, oh no, what happened at the end. Because you don't just fully expose yourself like that unless you intend to, you know, the Emperor, strike me down. Except Hitomi is literally, things have transpired exactly as I have foreseen.
兄上。
Have we ever gotten to fight at the tower?
バンが泣いてる。バン、どうしてよ。どうしてこんなことばかり、悲しいことばかり起こるの。いや、もう見たくない。こんな運命なんてもう嫌。
And yet you came back of your own free will.
動き出した。
誰？
少女よ、私と見るがよい。
Like I said, it had to be part of his plan.
絶対幸運圏。
あなたは。
I just do it. I knew that was going to be the end of the episode. I mean, to be fair, I thought Vaughn crying out, or Hitomi crying out, was going to be the end of the episode, but the moment he name dropped, the element is that I make the schedules like 2 weeks ahead of time. So I see the names of the episodes 2 weeks ahead, which isn't usually like a spoiler in itself. A lot of episode names are either hints or, a little bit of a juke. Like, here's something that's going to happen in the episode, but it's not the majority of the episode. Well, he name dropped the last episode's name. So, when that happens, it's gotta be the end of the episode. Plus, it's been like a while since we hit the midpoint of the episode. I don't know though. With only one episode left, and Hitomi's vision of both the tower not happening yet, unless I'm completely forgetting, and her vision of the moon exploding not happening yet, I'm not exactly sure where we go.
Escaflowne. 俺はお前を守るために戦っている。
私忘れないから。
What? Okay, I do not understand, one, the floating through and, the Evangelion sort of ending, the in your mind bit. Why Alan and Vaughn are fighting each other, that's a bit of a mystery to me too. Clearly Delandu comes back too because he's standing with Alan, which means that fight also goes nowhere. Hitomi is going back to Earth? I'll never forget you? You just came back from Earth. Why did you come back with Vaughn to just go back to Earth again? And also, not for nothing, also the ending of Magic Knight Rayearth that I didn't like. So I guess my comparison at the very beginning of comparing it to Magic Knight Rayearth is now coming full circle. That better not be her going back to Earth. Like, she had the opportunity, when she went back to Earth last episode, to say goodbye, to confront people with her feelings for them that were going to be, left unfelt. The fact that she came back to now go back again? What the fuck is that about? She legitimately also said goodbye to everybody. That has to be a rug pull. That has to be Hitomi is trying to sacrifice herself. No, never mind, it can't be. You wouldn't say I'll never forget you to somebody that you're trying to sacrifice yourself for, because you're not going to remember them, you're going to be dead. Unless Vaughn is going to sacrifice himself for Hitomi, and Hitomi is then going to safety. I'll never forget you. That could be the thing. That would make more sense, Vaughn sacrificing himself. Although she doesn't seem sad enough for that to be the case. Because I'd imagine that would be a scene filled with crying, begging, etc. Like, don't do this, whatever. He seems relatively happy. She seems to be, I feel like, smiling. I don't remember the scene now all of a sudden. I'll never forget you. Like, she's going home. That's what it feels like the scene is telling me. Not that one of them is about to die. And yet, that one of them dying is the only way that could make any sense to me. Again, she cannot fucking go back home again. I don't know. I'm just lost in that scene now. Of course, there's the thing to talk about, like, the fact that I forgot way back when they were first introduced to put on the board the 4 generals of Zybok. And now 3 of them are dead, having basically done nothing. But then again, the 4 generals, 3 of the 4 generals of Fenelia really did nothing at the end of the day too. So I guess that's the trade-off there. Also, weirdly, how one of the allied nations of the Alliance had a nuke. That seems like it would be in Zybok's territory. Zybok, the super science nation. I don't know. I kind of feel like something's gone amiss here at the final episodes of Escaflowne. Like, this is the penultimate episode. But I feel like some of this is just ripped from other media. The Falcon thing, the Falcon and Dornkirk thing, both reek of Star Wars. I don't mean reek isn't like a bad thing. I just mean like, it doesn't feel like it's part of this show. It feels like it's part of a different show. I don't know. I feel like we've been on a good pace. Like, it's a good show, good show, good show, good show, good show. And now here at the end, we're like, oh, I'm starting to trip. Oh, what's happening to me? And I'm hoping that they don't fall on their face right there at the end. I didn't have a huge problem with this episode. I don't know. Even the fact that Dryden, like, gave up being married and left on a whole, I'll make you fall in love with me, just to have her go back to Alan again. There's so much tripping up in this episode that I'm now very concerned that the last episode could be a failure. Like, maybe that's why they made the movie. Maybe they had to correct some stuff in the movie. Maybe they ran out of time on the show and tried to rush their way to a finish line. Ironic, given Hitomi, right? And then they wanted to correct in the movie. I feel like I'm doing stuff that I keep saying, like when I'm watching Macross Delta, and we finished Macross Delta, and I'm like, oh, my only hope now is the second movie is going to tie everything together. I don't know. I don't have any real thoughts here because my concerns are overweighing my ability to critically think about what happened in the episode. So I think I'm going to leave that to the notes, and then I'm going to come back and discuss what I think. See, I'm going to try and avoid talking about the failures of this episode and discuss how I think the next episode could tie it all together in a satisfying ending. That's going to be my goal. Don't know if I'm going to remember to do that or that was going to be my goal. But it's my goal right now. So that said, I think we're going to leave it here. So once again, I have been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?